As you just saw, mapping has a wonderful and rich history, everywhere from tribal hunting maps that are made in smaller locations, all the way up to today's very complicated maps that are of the whole entire globe. The second part of the video will go into how data visualization and mapping has interplayed with political elections, government, and policy, as well as private entities. Finally, we'll conclude with where people are seeing the future of mapping and what the possibilities are.
One of the most popular uses of maps in politics is for pre-election predictions, meaning political analysts use mapping technology to learn how states voted in previous elections and the political geography in each state. This technology has allowed the public to view the country's political makeup and gain a better understanding of how a political party wins office. Knowing these trends help analysts make predictions on who will become the next president. These maps also aid presidential candidates in knowing which states they must focus their attention on in order to win the elections. It also shows them which states it's not worth their energy because they have historically always voted for the same party. Similar to the visual we just saw of the United States, this visual representation of the US shows how big populations are in the states and how they usually vote in elections. Again, this allows for the public as well as political analysts to play if-then games during elections to see how or why a presidential candidate would win. These maps are easily legible for many education levels and help you provide information to the public, making complicated issues and events more understandable. This is the power of information, especially visual information like maps. Now that you have seen some examples of political maps, it is time to dig deeper into how government is able to use mapping technology to acquire these demographics of the US, and this is where the US Census comes into play. The best government data is not always organized and managed efficiently to support decision-making in a timely and cost-effective manner. A more recent government initiative, the Geospatial Platform, is designed to provide that service and capability, including increasing the visualization of maps to information is available, so information is available and legible to the public. Household and family dynamics, migration, and geographic mobility and economic indicators are only a couple of the information sets the American Census wants to provide to the public. The Geospatial Initiative has been trying to provide more visuals for the public, and these maps are examples of that initiative. National Wetland Inventory, land cover databases are only a couple of the many visual maps that are starting to pop up on the geospatial websites. These help with federal and state policy and decision-making procedures. Google is one of the most popular private companies that have really taken maps to a new level. Google Earth Outreach is one aspect of Google, and these tools are available to nonprofits to help raise awareness, increase decision-making, and engage stakeholders. You're able to find Google Earth Engine, Google Maps Coordinate, Open Data Kits, Spreadsheet Mappers, custom maps for Google Maps. These are all tools to be able to help private companies, nonprofit companies, and government companies be able to make decisions and be more efficient. Different things that Google Earth is able to provide users is highlights of the moon, 3D buildings, Mars, and even the sky. They're able to take 3D imaging to a new level. They're able to look at real-life images of trees, of buildings. They're also able to look at historical images and how different places have changed over time. So it all starts with a project called Ground Truth, which is Google Maps' team that takes all 1,300 sources of map data and merges them into a consumable product that we see on the web and our mobile phones today. Each piece of information that the company gets turns into a layer of sorts, which can be dropped on top of what will become a complicated map. Watching someone use a system is the same as watching a designer use Photoshop, for instance. Sometimes it used to take up to 18 months to perfect a city in the United States, but now it can be done in only a couple hours. This big piece of connecting the dots for Google is a new focus on indoor mapping, telling you where to go when you're at, say, San Francisco International Airport. It's an obsession of Google's engineers, being able to tell you where you are at all points, even when you're inside. You should never have to wonder where you are, according to the Google team. This is an extremely unbelievable technology and something that has so much potential. Nokia is also a big player in the map industry with technology. Their new application called Here allows individual users to be able to contribute to maps. For example, a user could note that a street is one way. User-contributed data will be verified by Nokia. However, users who consistently contribute useful information can eventually have their edits expedited as they become more trusted. Nokia's plan is for maps to get even more detailed, eventually being able to say which lane is best to take on a highway. The inclusion of elevation information can help guide drivers towards more fuel-efficient routes and alert a driver if he or she is, for instance, driving too fast to safely make an upcoming turn. Now we are going to take a quick look at a short TED Talk video about a new augmented reality mapping technology from Microsoft.
I'll show you a fun app that we've been working on in collaboration with our friends at Flickr. This takes Flickr geo-registered imagery and uses photosynth-like processes to connect that imagery to our imagery. So I'm not sure if that's the one I actually meant to pull up, but notice this is, of course, a popular tourist site, and there are lots of photos around here. And these photos are all taken at different times. So this one was taken around 5. So that's the Flickr photo. That's our imagery. So you really see how this kind of crowdsourced imagery is integrating in a very deep way into the map itself. Now, the reason this is interesting, thank you. There are several reasons why this is interesting, and one of them, of course, is time travel. I'm not going to show you some of the wonderful historic imagery in here, but there's some with horses and carriages and so on as well. But what's cool about this is that not only is it augmenting this visual representation of the world with things that are coming in from users, but it also is the foundation for augmented reality, and that's something that I'll be showing you more of in just a moment. Now, I just made a transition indoors. That's also interesting. Okay, notice there's now a roof above us. We're inside the Pike Place Market, and this is something that we're able to do with the backpack camera. So we're now not only imaging in the street with this camera on tops of cars, but we're also imaging inside. And from here, we're able to do the same sorts of registration, not only of still images, but also of video. So this is something that we're now going to try for the first time live, and this is really, truly very frightening. Okay. All right, guys, are you there? All right, I'm hitting it. I'm punching play. I'm live. All right, there we go. So these are our friends in Pike Place Market. They're at the lab. Thank you.
So as you can see, everywhere from map history to the present and future, mapping and data visualization is something that interplays with our everyday lives, and it's extremely important to society. Especially with the future of mapping, they're coming up with some unbelievable technologies, from crowdsourcing, augmented reality, and even taking Google Maps indoors. So no matter where you are, you'll always know where you're trying to get and never be lost. It is some unbelievable technology, and we can't wait to see what's coming next. Especially even on campus, we have some unbelievable resources for students and faculty and the public to learn about maps. The Stephen S. Clark Library, which is found in the Hatcher Graduate Library, has wonderful data and visualizations of maps from the past up into the present. It's something that you should check out, not only for academics, but also for personal enjoyment. Thank you SI 110 for watching this video on maps. We'll see you next week.